with the word Somerset. Right then, there's a programme on BBC Two at the moment, not sure if you've been watching it, called Pilgrimage. It's about a group of celebrities on a trek with a bit of a difference. They're hiking through Wales to learn more about their faith. So pilgrimages might automatically make you think of people just in a line wearing traitor-style sort of hoods and all this sort of thing, but it's completely different. The British Pilgrimage Trust has led more than 2,000 people on 100 guided pilgrimages over the last 8 years. And Dr. Guy Hayward is the Trust Director and co-founder and joins me now. Good afternoon, Guy.
Hi there, Faris.
Hello, Guy. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Where do we find you right now in the world? Where are you right now, Guy?
In the highly urban centre of London.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Are you reclining in a deep, softly padded chair, or are you out and about? What are you doing?
No, I'm all teched up, sitting, waiting to talk to you.
It's sounding nothing like a traditional pilgrimage, I've got to say, Guy.
I have to say, well, most people are in that state, you know. Like most people are in their rooms, locked in their walls, not out in the countryside.
Well, and where they should be, So, Guy, tell me a little bit about what the British Pilgrimage Trust is all about and what it does.
Well, we've just noticed this huge trend in just around the world of pilgrimage. So many millions of people are doing it all around the world, and it connects people to each other, their nature and themselves, their hearts, their minds. And we're just like, well, why is it not happening in Britain? There are millions of people walking the Santiago route in Spain and the Hajj, and in India there are 100 million people walking the route, and nothing really happens in Britain. So we thought, what's going on here? And we thought, let's build loads of routes and promote them all over Britain with one-day routes, week-long routes, month-long routes. People can just download onto their phones and just go out and walk, and make it easy for them to do that. That's our mission, really.
And I mean, there's this sort of kind of traditional vision of what a pilgrimage is, Guy, which is sort of like people walking in a line. It's all very mystical, and they're wearing hoods like in traitors, and they're humming and all this sort of thing. But it dispel those myths, because it must be a far cry from that, Guy.
Yeah, I mean, most people come and say, so is that a religious thing? And we say, well, it's as religious as you want it to be. If you don't want it to be, then that's fine. Bring your own beliefs. It's a practice. It's just about putting one foot in front of the other. It's not a belief system. And what we try to modernize the term of pilgrimage, to reclaim the word for a modern mind. And we talk about destination, intention, and walk. Just the act of walking with a purpose just frees up the mind from its usual grooves, and it kind of sometimes gives you breakthroughs as you go along. Kind of the idea of the hero's journey with that people are familiar with The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and these idea of the Odyssey, and go walking out from your home, going somewhere, being changed, coming back home, and then it changing your everyday life. And so we're thinking walking is more for the body, and pilgrimage is for the soul, and that's a very inclusive term. You're traveling kind of towards somewhere unknown, but you're doing it with a kind of openness, a kind of true heart. And so it's really about how open you are, how without structure of exactly how you think things should be, and you're actually opening yourself up to change. So it's actually got very little to do with specific belief systems, and much more about experience, actually what happens when you go on a walk. Who do you meet? What animals do you encounter? What does the silence bring you? Who what kind of engagement with nature do you have? It's these sorts of things. It's way beyond what you think of traditionally, and it can really help people when they're coming to points of change in their life.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually come to that in a sec, Guy. But you're right. There is something about walking when you're walking with someone or in a group, when you're on a walk. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a pilgrimage, but when you're walking, you suddenly become a little bit more open, and you end up having conversations with people or getting into things and deep into things that you wouldn't ordinarily do if, let's say, you were just sitting in the lounge in front of the telly, or you've gone to the pub. There's something about that I don't know what it is. That
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
of
yeah.
connection
Well, I
of,
think
you know what I mean?
yeah, you're getting right to the heart of the issue, really. Daniel Kahneman, in his book Thinking Fast and Slow, which is his bestseller, said, when you run, kind of clears your mind completely, and you're like, you get rid of everything, and then when you're sitting down, you can kind of execute tasks like sending an email or something, or doing something where you know what you're supposed to do. But walking is this like kind of middle space where it kind of frees up your mind to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more flowing, a little bit more less restricted. But it's not like you're not having to focus so much on your body because you're running really fast or you're doing something difficult. Like it's sort of in between stage. And so it kind of, when you're walking alongside each other, also you're not looking in the person's eye directly. And for some reason that makes difference. Like when people are in the car, they're not looking at each other, but actually moving your body like changes the way your mind works, and also brings up emotions over time. If you're walking through the landscape for a day or two, more than that, sometimes some stuff comes up and you don't quite know where it's coming from, and it's mysterious. Like there are lots of scientific benefits of this practice, but at the end of the day, we're never really going to understand how it works, but it does do something, and people notice that.
Yeah, and I guess that's actually the sort of the beautiful thing about it, that we don't understand, but it still kind of works. And you mentioned earlier on about the knock-on positive effects in terms of emotional health, mental health. I mean, mental health, of course, has become such a thing in the last sort of 10, 15 years. So do you find that people are coming on these pilgrimages now, not just from kind of the religious point of view, but also because they are facing their own issues or problems or demons, and they've come to do this in order to try and help themselves? Yeah,
I mean, your life is a pilgrimage in itself, like from the start to the end, and maybe there is no end, but that's another question. But the point is that by walking an outer path, literally on the ground, you can kind of explore your own inner path. And I think that really helps people. And there is something about our personal journeys, and there's sort of the wider things that people believe, and communities, and coming together and getting people to come together in various ways. But each of us has our own journey, and we've also got to explore that and create the right conditions for us to explore it. And I think what's so great about this practice is like it doesn't require loads of training, or you don't have to go to a special therapist, or you don't have to like sign up to a course. You can just put one foot in front of the other, and it does a lot of the same things that those sorts of things are doing.
And Guy, sorry, do you have to be religious? Do you have to be religious in order to go on a pilgrimage?
Not really, because it's about just walking and experiencing life and what you come across and nature. I mean, like when you look at a bird flying in the sky, it doesn't believe in Christianity or whatever. It's sort of it's a bird. It's something beyond all of that is you're just sort of connecting with. And I think, bring your own beliefs. It's not a belief system. It's a practice. And I think that's what's so good. You have to actually make pilgrimage. You can't just like read about it. It's something you actually have to do. And
continue. No, continue.
Well, I think like it's sorting out a lot of issues we've got at the moment. People are disconnected from nature. Rural areas are kind of in decline. We need help with our mental health and inner well-being. There's a huge rise in those problems. And also like going to the gym is great physical exercise, but it hasn't got necessarily the enchantment and the kind of magic of pilgrimage. Perhaps, I mean, some people love it and it's great for people, but I think there's something of walking has seen a resurgence. Like more and more people are walking in Britain. We've got this amazing public footpath network, but we want to add this extra dimension of kind of inner exploration, the kind of soulful discovery, and to just the actual act of walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned there, Guy, that more people are doing it now in the UK, and I gather Somerset is featured in some of your travels. Tell us a little bit about Somerset and its sort of connection to pilgrimages.
Oh well, I love Somerset. I think it's got this so many of the sort of magical stories like Tolkien and and C.S. Lewis and all these kind of sort of Shire-like places. So Somerset is a great inspiration for all those writers, and I can see why. Like the day pilgrimage that we offer in Glastonbury. There's just so many different mythologies of like King Arthur, and even older druidic ones of like Ceridwen and her cauldron, Taliesin. But then also you've got like the monks of the medieval period, like in Glastonbury Abbey. You've got the tour, which has so many different interpretations as to what that tour is about. Is it a fairy castle? Is it a sort of UFO landing site? It's like there's a sort of place where ley lines meet, to like a sort of an entrance into the underworld. Like over the thousands of years that people have been making, 10,000 years, possibly more, that people have been making pilgrimage to Glastonbury tour. There are so many different ways of looking at this one piece of land, but everyone agrees it's important.
Yeah.
I think that's why these land just brings people together, because it's all of our history throughout time, and it's so connecting with our ancestors.
Yeah,
people love that. So I think Somerset's just an amazing place and has had a lot of history of pilgrimage.
I love that. I feel like I should be having like the Game of Thrones theme in the background while you're talking about this. This is
Well, to be honest, good. I hope next time.
Do you have a favourite? I mean, I'm sure they're all your babies, but do you have a favourite trip so far, or one personally that you've done that is your number one?
Well, I grew up in Bath, and so I've had a connection with Bath and waters, and so I think I'd have to say, when I'm speaking to you at BBC Radio Somerset, the Glastonbury Waterway, which the routes are created a few years ago, that goes between Bath and Frome and Wells and Shepton Mallet, Dalting and Wells, and then Glastonbury. All these places of great water significance, like healing waters. I love it because it just connects you with the kind of that sense of life itself, and nature, but also all the different layers we talked about throughout this. The Christian, the mythological, the druidic, the Arthurian, and it's such a beautiful county, and the rolling hills. I love it, and I recommend everyone in Somerset go to the river near where you're born. Walk from source to sea. The river where you're born or where you now live, walking waterways is wonderful. But yeah, the Glastonbury Waterway. And then also there's this Glastonbury Day. If you can't give, 4 days, just go for a day and walk around all the sacred sites around Glastonbury. See what it does to you.
Well, Guy, it's been lovely chatting to you. Really, it has been so interesting, so fascinating. Thank you for your time today. Good luck as well. And hopefully speak to you again soon.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. If you want to check out all these routes, the website is britishpilgrimage.org, and download them straight to your phone. Get going.
Excellent. All right, Guy, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Dr. Guy Hayward there, the director and co-founder of the British Pilgrimage Trust that has led more than 2,000 people on 100 guided pilgrimages over the last 8 years. Interesting. Love that. All right, then. It is 12:32 on BBC Radio Somerset. Big song medley. We're gearing up for that. I'll give you all the details after this.
Our dad would send us to our room. He'd be the voice of doom. He said that